Thank you. I think the question relates somewhat to our government's approach to bilingualism, and of course, we're very supportive of the important francophone investment throughout Canada. Many francophone communities play an important part, not only in the general economy, but especially in the arts community. Here locally, the francophone arts community is known world over. Of course, I already referenced Cirque Molière. I think they're the oldest arts troupe west of Quebec by far, if not one of the oldest in Canada. So I think we have a really dynamic local community. Our government has made significant investments into our official languages protection, and I think that's something that's not only stable, but will be maintained in years to come.
Anybody else want to address that question? Okay. I have time for one more question. I really apologize. We're going to have to go to this microphone. I apologize to the rest of the candidates to hang back to answer any questions. We have to get to the closing comments. One more question.
I would like to know how you would change how funds are distributed. Funds do go to the Canada Council for the Arts, but what about the individual artists who are just starting out? They're not big companies, they're not the Royal Winnipeg Ballet, people that are emerging. How would you change funding so that it's just, how would you change the distribution of those funds?
Who would like to deal with that first? I could just take it. I don't want to use up all my time, I don't have that much to say about it. It's not a perfect system. It's not a perfect vehicle to distribute funds by the grant system, because some politics just has to enter into it. And names that are recognized and work that is already recognized will probably be more likely to get a grant than somebody who's new or just starting out. And that's why we, and I understand the Green Party as well, are advocating at least the income averaging system so that creators can keep more of their own revenue generated from what they create, but also the idea that I'm personally going after, which is the $50,000 tax-free for the first $50,000 earned from whatever it is that you create would be tax-free altogether. I believe that would give up-and-coming artists or artists just starting out a better opportunity to keep some of what they have and not have to make application and win the lottery of being noticed and acknowledged with a small grant or a stipend to keep you going. So while we want more money to the Canada Council at this time, we recognize it's not the perfect, not an ideal vehicle for distributing resources to artists.
Other candidates want to address this one? Anita?
Just very briefly, I don't have an easy answer for you, but you raised an important question. My commitment to you is simply to look at it. I'm looking through the list of programs that have been cut, some of which might have had some applicability to an emerging artist or starting out artist. Some of the funding goes to organizations that in turn help artists who are beginning their career in one form or another. I don't have an easy answer. I'm committed to look at it.
As the Green Party of Canada is started out as a grassroots political organization, I myself, to be honest with you, am not sure of the policies, the platform that would relate to your question. It's going to be on the website, but they will of course recognize that it takes time to become established and to develop that reputation, and we need to have opportunities for people at the grassroots level to have those opportunities and not just rely on a lottery of being fortunate enough to win a grant or an award.
Right.
I'm very supportive of artists being involved in the granting councils. The granting councils, I think, need to have really strong representation on it. Not just of established artists, but people who have an eye for perhaps what is unconventional, and I think that is really important to be able to pick out that maybe diamond in the rough that exists when art is not necessarily perceived initially as being of merit because it is so far ahead of its time. I think you need those voices in the granting councils, and so I think that's one approach. Of course, tax credits are something that our government has been very supportive of in other industries. We are promoting a tax credit relative to the art sector in this campaign, and I would like to advocate for other tax credits that would benefit working artists. We have it for other industries, so I think something that would allow for artists to write off equipment utilized in their profession, I think, would be of merit as well.
Thank you, Rod. We now move to closing comments. Each candidate will have an opportunity for a 2-minute closing comment. We'll get their signal from the timer at minute 30. Our first speaker to close is Anita Neville.
Thank you very much, Dave. I want to reiterate that the Liberal government will be a strong supporter of the arts. Cannot afford to starve the arts without giving the arts the financial and policy framework and support we need. We cripple this all-important community. But I also want to say to you that we will speak out for the arts. And I want to raise something that hasn't come up today, which should have come up today. And that's the prairie scene that is taking place in Ottawa in the next number of weeks. You should know that BC, Quebec, the Atlantic provinces, Alberta, all had scenes in Ottawa. They all received between $900 million and $1.2 million for each of these scenes, which are a display of the regional art of the area in Ottawa. Manitoba and Saskatchewan received a total of $250,000. Where was the Conservative spokespeople in this province? Because I know that they were approached. We need strong representation on behalf of the arts community. We need people to speak out for Manitoba, to speak out for the starting artists and for those that are more established. And I can guarantee you that you will have that in Liberal representation in Ottawa.
Thank you, Nina. The second speaker is Pat Martin. Pat. You're going to have to come forward with more than 25%.
Well, thank you. I can't disagree with what my colleague Anita has said. We need a strong representative, arguing not just for our arts, culture, and arts community, but for this region, for the region. We both of us spoke to the example of the Canadian Museum of Human Rights and the paltry shortfall that we have to go cap in hand to beg for when at a cost overrun of 500% at the Museum of Natural History. Both Anita and I keep condos or keep a place to stay near there, and I've watched this same contractor that's building our museum here, $40 million project, cost overruns jacked it up to $240 million. Nobody had to go, let's say, cap in hand to the city or to the province there to beg for the shortfall that was paid for by the federal government, as the National Museum should be paid for by the federal government. Secondly, we don't want the interference. Never mind the lack of funding for arts, heritage, culture, not recognizing what an engine for economic growth it is. We don't want the interference, the gag laws, the arbitrary censorship. I don't want Felix Holtzman choosing art that hangs in the National Gallery of Canada. I don't think you do either. He's long gone, but his like-minded colleagues are actually running the place now. So, I don't know. Notwithstanding, I recognize the arts, culture, heritage community as, I think it's probably the largest private sector employer in the riding that I represent. We've lost the manufacturing sector, we've lost the smokestack industry, et cetera, We do have this industry. It should be encouraged, it should be supported, it should get the same amount of attention and the industry sector loans or promotion that other industry sectors get.
Thank you.
It hasn't because it doesn't have a champion.
Thanks very much, Pat. Now move on to the development.
We will be working at increasing the funding that arts and culture gets, because we recognize just the huge economic spin-offs and just other spin-offs such as population health, just health prevention, and how it creates the vibrant communities. And we also want to make sure that these resources that we get for arts and culture are distributed in a much more fair way, so that we get our fair share of the pie. It doesn't get favored towards certain projects with certain geographic territories. And the Green Party is very committed to making sure that everybody has equal opportunities, and it shouldn't be for just the wealthy. It should be something that everybody has the opportunity to enjoy and participate in, should they have the will and the desire to do so.
Well, thank you, Dave, and I just want to thank the other party members here today for what's been a really enjoyable debate, and I want to thank Pat Martin for providing some good, entertaining lines. I also want to talk about, of course, something that's very important to me, and that is our local arts community. It's something that I've been involved with for many years, and I've been very proud to advocate on behalf of so many of the issues that face the people in this room within our government. One of the great days that I've had the pleasure of being part of is when both Minister Moore and myself and Sam Cates announced Winnipeg as the cultural capital of Canada about a year and a half ago. And this brought an additional $2 million to our city to promote arts within Winnipeg, to highlight just the incredible cultural heritage that we have here in the city that dates back so many decades. Winnipeg really is the cultural capital of Canada, and it's something that I think will continue to be in the future. We have an incredible community, and I believe that it's only going to get better. Within this next session, whenever it begins after the next election, which is just, I think, 12 days away now, I look forward to seeing our Conservative government continue to provide that stable funding for the arts community. We're looking forward to seeing the opening of the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, which is the first national museum outside the capital region. Again, this is something that I think works well within our government's philosophy. Not everything needs to be in Ottawa, and that's why we're so happy to make this Canada's first national museum, and I'm just so excited to see the day that it opens and puts Winnipeg on that international map that we belong on. Thank you.
I've got three quick thank yous. First of all, let's give it up for Nat, the timer. She is the most feared person in the room. All the candidates are looking, didn't want Nat to put up her hand while we were speaking, so well done. Thank you very much. I really want to thank the candidates. It is not easy to put yourself out there. Thank you for running. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here today. I want to thank you. You know, one of the issues we always have in election time periods is trying to engage the citizens. Get them up, get them to care, get them to ask questions, get them engaged. We have no problem with the arts community here in Winnipeg. And when we had a lineup out the door on both sides of the stairs to ask questions of the candidates, what a great sign that you are an engaged community. And you care about this community, you care about the issue of arts, and you have a passion for it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. They had a responsibility to come out here and present their platforms. They have fulfilled that responsibility. I thank you for that. Responsibility is now ours. Ours to go out on May the 2nd to make an informed choice of who we feel is the best able to lead this country. Exercise your right to vote May 2nd, Election Day in Canada. Thank you so much for being here today.